In this week's This Week at Bungie, some gear that can be obtained during Season 13 has been shown, and therefore we now know what next season's icon will be. This icon's a bit more complex than some other seasons, and there's a few theories about what it could potentially be, or what it could mean, and what next season could be about. I am a big fan of it potentially being the House of Light sigil. If you don't know anything about the Fallen or Fallen houses, the Fallen in Destiny 2 are broken up into three main houses. You have the House of Dusk, you've got the House of Darkness, and you've got the House of Light. These are the three main groups of Fallen in Destiny 2. In Destiny 1 there were a few other houses, but they basically all banded together into House of Dusk, because we obliterated them in Destiny 1 basically. House of Light worship the Traveller basically, or they don't worship the Traveller, but they want to align with the Guardians and the Last City basically. House of Darkness worship the darkness and want to use the darkness. House of Dusk are basically just Fallen trying to get by. They don't really have a goal as far as I can tell. So I think that next season could potentially be about House of Light and Mithrax. The reason I think this is because the icon itself looks quite similar to the tower, with the main building and then the wee Vanguard command outpost at the bottom as like a line coming out, and then above that you've got the two spikes that would stick up. I'll try and show it side by side with an image of the old tower before it got destroyed by the Red Legion, so the Destiny 1 version basically, and then this season's icon, the next season's icon even. And then you've got a big ball in between what would be the two spikes, and obviously this is the Traveller if you go by the fact that that's the tower and then that's the Traveller. So I think this could very well be a House of Light sigil. Some other things that could back up this theory potentially are that House of Light and Mithrax have been mentioned directly by Varix in Beyond Light's campaign. He also mentions that there are Fallen actually moving from Europa and the Reese Reborn I think it's called, the Fallen City on Europa, and moving to the House of Light or House of Dusk. And we actually have to save them in some missions where you have to defend their ships flying off and destroy the tractor cannon things. The other piece of evidence is that Uldren, or as he's now known as the Crow, is quite sympathetic towards Fallen, and obviously he was allied, if you could even say that, with Spider, so he was actually around Elixni quite often, and he seems quite sympathetic towards them. Therefore, if Crow does become the Hunter Vanguard instead of Cade, seems how Uldren technically did kill Cade, and then I know Uldren died, but then he's alive again as Crow, he could become the next Hunter Vanguard. He doesn't actually seem to enjoy fighting either. If you go by this season's dialogue, he doesn't enjoy killing things, so he would very well suit being in the Vanguard position because he doesn't actually have to kill things and he can just command people. So, if he does become the Hunter Vanguard, I think it would make a lot of sense for him to be like the tie-in towards this season and next season, because if Uldren or Crow is sympathetic towards Fallen, he would be very eager to have an alliance with the Fallen, even if it is just House of Light, allying them with the Tower. I think he would be the person to do that basically, so it would be quite a nice tie-in between this season and next season, which is obviously what they've been trying to do last year at least, trying to tie in each season. So I think that's a pretty good solid piece of evidence. Another interesting thing is that the Cubemaps for Destiny 2 have all been uploaded to a website. I'm not really sure who did this. I think you can find this on the website actually. I'll put a link in the description to the website. If you don't know what a Cubemap is, when you're playing Destiny 2, or any first person shooter for that matter, as you're using a sniper rifle, where you're looking at some sort of reflection, usually a sniper rifle is a good example, you can see the scope in your sniper rifle, and you can't actually see in the scope, you can just see a reflection. Generally this reflection isn't actually a reflection of your surroundings, so if you have someone stand behind you, you can't see them in the reflection, and if you move slightly from side to side, the image doesn't change, but if you rotate around, the image will change as you're rotating. What this is a cube map. So in Destiny 2, every main area has a cube map designated to it, so whenever you move from one location to another, the image in your scope will change suddenly. So for example, if you are in the EDZ and you move from inside Devrim's wee church to just outside of the church, the reflection will change suddenly in your scope. What this is the cube map changing for each location, and the reason why developers do this is because it reduces the required resources for the game. So if you actually had a reflection render constantly, it would mean that you need a better graphics card, or your Xbox doesn't run as well in the game, so you don't get as high an FPS, or it doesn't load as fast. So they just use these 360 images to basically emulate a reflection, and most of the time people don't really notice, so it works pretty well. Of course, all of these images have to be saved in the game's files, and therefore someone has went into the files and extracted them all. So, all of the Destiny 2 cube maps, as far as I'm aware, are on this website, and you can have a look around them. Some people have been digging around, and someone uploaded a post to Raid Secrets on Reddit, and it seems to show what is a tar cube map. There are some weird cube maps in this dump basically. There's one where it appears to be Europa, but it's like a massive hand, almost like the old box art for Beyond Light, where you get Aramis's gauntlet thing with the darkness shard hovering above it. So it almost looks like it's that, only it's in-game. It's really weird. But this one in particular is the tar, but it's not the tar, because it looks nothing like the Destiny 1 tar. So the question here is this a old version of what would have been the Destiny 1 tar, and they changed it before the game got released to what we saw in Destiny 1? Or is this a potential new tar for Destiny 2? If you look at the Traveler in this reflection as well, you can actually see that the Traveler is completely repaired. It's the normal Traveler. So this cube map wouldn't be from anywhere in Destiny 2 before Beyond Light, because obviously the Traveler was broken before Beyond Light. So this either has to be prior to Destiny 1 or after Beyond Light. From Destiny 2's version of the tower, you can also see craters in the last city, and in the cube map you can also see these exact same craters. I don't believe these craters were in Destiny 1's version of the tower, because I think they were caused by the Red Legion's attack. I'm not 100% sure in that. I can't really go back and play Destiny 1 because I don't actually have it for my Xbox. But if you know anything about that, please let me know. But I think the craters weren't in Destiny 1, so this could well be a Destiny 2 tower. I just have to add this here. I didn't actually record this initially. Whenever I was going through to get the cube maps for this video to show on screen, I found another one on Raid Secrets, which is actually of what looks to be a hangar of some sort. Some people have been saying it's maybe inside of the Cosmodrome, one of those ball things that you can see, which I'll try and show on screen again. But it actually has some interesting characteristics to it. There's a few interesting things. There's wee vehicle-y things on the ground, which I've only ever seen in the tower. You can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure they only ever show up in the tower. There is also what looks to be a player ship in the center of this area, which probably isn't actually a player ship. If it's a cube map, it's probably just a ship that's going to stay there, but it could potentially be a new hangar for the tower. I'm not sure where this would fit in. I don't know if this would go where the old hangar was in the Destiny 1 tower, but again, it looks quite interesting, so I'm going to put it in the video. I think with the combination of next season potentially being about House of Light, the icon being about the tower and the Traveler potentially, and then having this cube map, I think there's a good chance that the tower might be repaired for next season, or at least at some point in next season. Also, if you look at the tower at the moment, there's actually scaffolding on the side. I have been keeping a look at this every week more or less. I've been looking at it to see if there's any updates to the scaffolding or the repairs. There aren't. It hasn't changed since the start of the season, but it did change between the end of last season and this season because there wasn't any scaffolding, and it was still on fire last season. So yeah, it has changed, but it hasn't changed during this season. It just changed in whenever Beyond Light got released. So we might see a new tower at some stage. Another theory I have is that if Activision was still publishing Destiny, they probably would have wanted a new game by this stage, and Beyond Light probably would have been that new game. Because if you think about it, Destiny 1 was actually the era of light, I think Bungie have said. Destiny 2 is the era of loss, and then after Beyond Light is the era of darkness. So, if we were to split these into games, Era of Darkness would probably have been Destiny 3, and we probably would have got a new tower for Destiny 3. I doubt they would have used the Destiny 2 tower, so they probably would repair the Destiny 1 tower, and this may well have been what the Destiny 3 tower would have been. This may still show up in Destiny 2 because we're technically playing Destiny 3 now, I guess, because Beyond Light would have been Destiny 3, but we'll just have to wait and see. That's it really. There's nothing concrete we don't know anything about next season really yet. All I'm saying is the icon looks like the Traveller and the Tower. The tower may be repaired next season at some stage, and I honestly wouldn't be disappointed if the current tower goes bye-bye, because I'm a bit sick of it at this stage. I don't dislike it, but it's kind of gone a bit crammed, because there's all these different areas where you can get, you have Banshee's wee area where you get Leviathan's Breath, you've got Zavala's office, you've got like the wee section that was used as a teaser for like Warmind, because Anna Bray's like, diaries there or something. It's really strange. Anyway, that's about it. Let me know what you think down in the comments if you wish. I'll reply to any that I can, probably all of them. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.